Welcome to this segment, Organizational Development. My name is Yinka Olugbodi. If your organization is a very resilient organization, if your organization is a very forward-looking organization, if your organization is a futuristic and an inspired organization that takes no for no answer, then your culture has been shaped over time through critical and challenging incidents that you guys have surmounted, and you've come head high even within that time. Those can shape the culture within the organization. And that is why it's very important that in any organization, during your induction and orientation time, you need to give the history of the company. You need to give the history of the organization. You need to tell the newcomers what has gone beyond and in the previous times in the organization, so that they can develop a strong mentality and they can even key into that new or the new environment of that new culture they are coming into. Otherwise, they are going to bring a different mentality within that organization. So my advice is give history. Tell the people with the new intake, the new recruits, those people, tell them the great things that the organizations have done in the past. Tell them the great history. Tell them what all the problems and all the challenges that the visionaries have even surmounted. And there we have a strong sense of culture and a strong sense of buying into that same culture. History, we always shape culture. Leadership, we always shape your organizational culture. History, your collective history, your past history, we always shape your corporate culture. And so one of the strong ways of culture developing is you even understanding and relating the critical incidents that has happened in the past within that organization. And the other way that you can really shape a culture or develop a culture is through induction and orientation, just as I mentioned earlier. Make sure that everything about that organization, the history, how the visionaries or the founders started, what were the challenges that have been overcome, what are the processes and procedures that have been put in place, how has the vision and the mission and the core value shaped the mentality and the behavior of those people who are around, and even tell them about the futuristic aspect of the company. What are you looking up to? What are the new emphasis? And when you do all this, when you tell them what are the strong things, what are the strong points about your organization, you are shaping the culture of the new people who are coming in. If you don't do that, the new people will bring in a new culture. With a new generation always come a new culture. And if you don't even refine your culture, if you don't deliberately build your culture by inputting that within the induction and the orientation curriculum, then there is going to be a friction within that organization. So for you to develop a very positive and strong, longing culture, organizational culture within your organization, make sure that in your induction and orientation curriculum, you devote a portion about the culture of the organization in there. A culture must be deliberately and consciously built. A culture or an organizational culture or a corporate culture is not something that you don't do with all your mind. You must deliberately and consciously build a culture. Why must you do that? Why? Because if you don't deliberately build your culture or consciously build that organizational culture, then you might end up having a toxic culture. You can end up having a negative or a retrogressive culture within your organization. But for you to build a positive and a deliberate and a very strong culture, you need to be very deliberate. You need to be conscious about what the culture is all about. You need to know what people are thinking. You need to know even how people behave. You need to shape how people behave. And that is where the aspect of all the value and the core value comes in. The first thing is a norm. A norm is an unwritten code that has defined the way people live. An unwritten code within that organization. Your organization has some unwritten code. If you sit down with your employees, they will tell you what are the unwritten codes. And you as a leader, you as a manager, you should know the unwritten codes within your team. Those are the things that shape culture. And the other thing is value and belief. What is the value, or what are the core values? What are the beliefs around the organization that shapes the way people behave at the end of the day? Is the organization forward-looking? Are they inspiring? Are they even creative? Are they people that can be very innovative? All these are beliefs that shape the way people think, and at the end of the day, shapes the way people behave and act and relate. And these are the things that can shape any organization or shape the culture of any organization. If we don't build the right culture, if we have a toxic culture, if we have a very negative culture, it will invariably affect the profitability of your organization. And if your organization have a very terrible culture, invariably that might be the end of your company, or the end of your organization, or the end of that team. Organizational culture, or what is called corporate culture, it's absolutely very essential that you deliberately build your organization. If you're building organization, then you're building the right culture. If you're building a team, then you're building a culture. Make sure you build the right culture in the right way. In the next segment, we're going to be talking about culture change, or how do you change the corporate culture of your organization. Till then, my name is Yinka Olugbodi.